This is TechCrunch. Food supply chains are notoriously messy. Orders arrive through different channels, staff spend hours manually entering them into clunky enterprise software systems, and compliance often depends on spreadsheets. For decades, software vendors have tried, with mixed success, to modernize the workflows behind the global movement of perishable goods. Now, a Y Combinator startup called Burnt thinks AI agents, software that can automatically handle tasks typically done by humans, can succeed where traditional enterprise software has not in the trillion-dollar U.S. food market. The company, which automates back office supply chain tasks with AI, has raised $3.8 million in seed funding led by Penny Jar Capital. Now, that's the venture firm backed by NBA star Steph Curry, with participation from Scribble Ventures, Formation VC, and angel investors, including Dan Scheinman. Burnt co founder and CEO Joseph Jacob grew up around food factories. He says his great grandfather was the first to export shrimp from India to the U.S. in the 1930s. Well, since then, each generation of his family has worked somewhere along the seafood supply chain, including farming, processing, exporting, and importing. Jacob moved to India during his formative years and, after college, worked on the factory floor of a shrimp processor in a rural area. Now, the experience introduced him to the intricacies of the food and restaurant business. When he returned to the U.S. and he began managing large volumes of seafood imports, he noticed some major inefficiencies. Jacob told TechCrunch, I ended up buying hundreds of millions of pounds of seafood, but everything was tracked on Excel sheets in a 20-year-old ERP system. In a business with razor-thin margins, it is nearly impossible to succeed without good supply chain management. We went through multiple software implementations, but 2 rollouts failed. That's when I realized I wanted to build software for this industry, not just work in it. Jacob's experience is not an isolated one. Enterprise vendors have long tried to sell distributors on large rollouts that drag on for years, cost millions, and frustrate the small and mid-sized players that dominate the market. After 2 decades of missed software adoption in the industry, Jacob believes Burnt's approach of layering AI agents on top of existing systems rather than replacing them represents a massive opportunity. He said, everyone we talk to calls their ERP a necessary evil. Traditional software forced teams to rip out old processes and adopt new ones. With AI, you don't need to change the process. You just get the work done. Here's how things tend to work today. Sales reps at food distributors receive orders via email, phone calls, WhatsApp, voicemails, texts, and even faxes. Each order then has to be keyed in manually. And while critical, the process eats up hours that could be spent on higher value work like winning new customers or upselling existing ones. Burnt's first agent, Ozai, automates and manages this order entry process. In fact, Jacob claims it can handle up to 80% of workflows that are currently stuck in legacy systems. Since launching in January, the startup has processed more than $10 million in monthly orders across seafood, specialty goods, and packaged food distributors. Now, one of the UK's largest food conglomerates, with billions in revenue, is currently implementing Burnt's system. The company is already generating 6-figure revenue and growing steadily month on month, though Jacob declined to share exact numbers. While building AI for food supply chains may sound unglamorous, Jacob says, well, that's the point. He argues that decades of failed tech rollouts have left operators skeptical of tech tourists with no industry experience. Jacob previously worked at Recce, a benchmark-backed B2B marketplace for restaurants and suppliers, where he saw firsthand how brittle supply chain tech could be and how AI might transform it. Still, winning investors wasn't straightforward. AI agents may be hot, but convincing VCs to back one for food distributors required a different pitch. Many lacked conviction in the market despite its size. That's where Curry's Penny Jar Capital came in. The firm's thesis is centered on backing founders who are building in overlooked industries where tech adoption lags. Jacob said that 2 decades of missed software adoption is a massive opportunity. Investors who understand this know it can be huge if executed right. One day, Shashwat Mararka sat in his college apartment thinking about his relationship with food delivery. Well, sometimes the order never arrived, and he had to wander through his apartment building looking for the misplaced food. Other times, he found himself giving step by step directions to confused deliverers who, it seemed, were just as annoyed as he was. He told TechCrunch what started as frustration turned into a mission to fix one of the most overlooked problems in the supply chain: the final stretch of the last mile. He started studying the delivery supply chain, ran deliveries himself, and he decided during his senior year in college to go all in on the problem. He teamed up with his friend Sheila Patel and launched Doorstep to help with delivery tracking. Mararka, who is CEO, said that standard GPS works wonders outdoors, but fails inside buildings, which creates a blind spot for deliverers. Doorstep integrates into existing delivery apps and then, using phone sensors, tracks when a driver has entered a building, gone up an elevator, and made it to the desired doorstep. This data is given to the delivery platform in which the driver works, like Uber Eats or DoorDash, and then can be used to automate dispute resolution and properly validate deliveries, essentially ending the drama behind missing food and blurry proof of delivery photos. Mararka said the company doesn't collect driver or user information and that it maintains the same privacy and security standards platforms already have in place. Now, Mararka said, "Our technology gives customer support teams the visibility they've been missing, providing real-time, verifiable data on what actually happens inside buildings to resolve refunds automatically. Solving that blind spot unlocks enormous value for platforms, drivers, merchants, and customers alike." On Thursday, the company announced an $8 million seed round led by Canaan Partners. Mararka described fundraising as relentless and said he actually slept in the office of the accelerator Antler when he first moved to New York. He said every step has been about funding the earliest believer, the people who don't just want to watch the journey but want to be part of it and stay the course. He said Doorstep raised this round in about a week and that he met their lead investor at Canaan through network connections. Others in this round include Antler, Circano Management, Cassius, and Sean Henry, a scout at Kleiner Perkins. Mararka said the fresh capital will be used to move the technology from pilot into full production. He's also looking to hire in engineering and product. Mararka considers the company's competitors to be other hardware-based solutions like standard building sensors, lockers, and cameras. He said, "Hardware is expensive and slow to scale, while GPS simply does not work indoors." The company is already active in all U.S. states, though it declined to share customers' names. Mararka hopes his company can end the pain associated with a missing food delivery, saying, "For me, this isn't just about stopping fraud or refunds. It's about rebuilding trust between platforms and customers, and between drivers and the work that they do. Drivers are the backbone of delivery platforms, and having experienced those challenges ourselves, well, we hope to make their work easier through Doorstep." That's it from TechCrunch. For more tech stories like these, go to TechCrunch.com.